A quiet beginning. Albert Einstein's story began in a middle-class family in the small town of Ulm, Germany, in 1879. At first glance, it was an unremarkable beginning. His family was neither rich nor famous, and they had no idea that they were about to welcome into the world one of the most extraordinary minds of the 20th century. In fact, when Albert was born, his parents were deeply concerned. His head was unusually large and misshapen, and they feared that their newborn might have a serious developmental issue. The fear that something might be wrong with him lingered for weeks. But as time passed, the shape of his head gradually returned to normal, yet their worries did not fade. As a young child, Albert seemed to develop differently from other children. He was quiet, reserved, and not quick to speak. In fact, Albert didn't speak his first words until the age of 4, much later than most children. His parents began to wonder if something was wrong with his cognitive abilities, as he seemed slow to grasp language and was not as outgoing as his peers. But what the world didn't know then was that this was just the beginning of his remarkable journey. A journey that would defy all odds and show the power of patience, persistence, and passion. Albert's early years were spent in deep contemplation and internal learning. Instead of rushing to speak like most children, Albert's mind was already racing with curiosity and questions. He would often form full sentences in his mind before daring to speak them out loud, carefully constructing each thought until it felt perfect. In a way, he was not only learning how to speak, but also learning how to think in a deeper, more profound way than most could fathom at the time. Despite his delayed verbal development, there were signs that Albert was not just another ordinary child. At the age of 5, Albert's father showed him a simple pocket compass, a device that would change the course of his life forever. As the young boy watched the needle move, something sparked inside him. It was not just the movement of the needle that fascinated him, but the deeper question of why it moved the way it did. This small moment would grow into an obsession with understanding the forces that govern the universe. It was during these early years that Albert's love for science began to take root. Alongside his growing curiosity about the natural world, he also began to show an interest in music, learning to play the violin at the age of 6. Music, much like science, was another language for Albert, a way for him to express himself, to think in new ways, and to appreciate the rhythms and patterns of life. He would continue to play the violin for the rest of his life, using music as a tool to keep his mind sharp and inspired. By the time Albert was in school, his academic journey took a turn that would further challenge his future. On one hand, he excelled in subjects like math and science, where his natural curiosity and intelligence shone brightly. On the other hand, he found the structured, rigid nature of the traditional schooling system stifling. The strict rules and methods of teaching didn't align with Albert's free-spirited and unconventional thinking. Instead of being celebrated for his brilliance, he often found himself at odds with the teachers, who were more focused on rote learning than creative thinking. At the age of 12, Albert began to educate himself beyond the traditional curriculum. He didn't just study what was taught in the classroom, but sought out knowledge on his own. He began reading books on geometry, and by the age of 15, he had mastered calculus. All of this without formal instruction. Yet despite his intellectual accomplishments, Albert struggled to find a place in the academic world that would foster his true potential. At the age of 15, frustrated with the rigid schooling system, Albert dropped out of school entirely. His decision was met with shock and concern from his parents, who feared that their son's future was at risk. They worried that Albert had no employable skills and that his rebellious nature would leave him with no prospects in life. But what his parents couldn't see at the time was that Albert's decision to leave formal education was not the end of his intellectual journey. It was merely the beginning of a new chapter, one that would take him down paths unknown to many. Albert's thirst for knowledge was so strong that it would not be confined to the walls of any classroom. Instead of following the traditional route, Albert applied to the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, hoping to gain entry into the world of higher education. But fate had other plans. In an unexpected twist, Albert failed the entrance exam on his first attempt. He was devastated, but not defeated. Although his performance in subjects like languages and history was subpar, his love for physics and math was undeniable. He decided to try again. And this time, he passed. His perseverance paid off, and Albert entered the institute, where he met Mileva Merrick, a fellow student who would later become his wife. But even as he began his studies at one of the most prestigious institutions in the world, Albert's journey was far from easy. He still faced resistance from the academic world. His teachers often found his free-thinking ways unsettling, and many dismissed him as too rebellious to succeed in academia. Despite these challenges, Albert remained committed to his studies, undeterred by the obstacles that stood in his way. He recognized early on that true innovation doesn't come from following the rules. It comes from breaking them. And as Albert continued to push the boundaries of science, his mind began to formulate ideas that would change the world forever. Little did anyone know at the time that this quiet, rebellious young man was on the cusp of a scientific revolution. From struggles to triumph. After his graduation from the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, Albert Einstein faced yet another hurdle that would have deterred most others. Despite his brilliant mind and impressive academic achievements, Einstein found it almost impossible to secure a job in academia. His professors, though they recognized his extraordinary potential, were often put off by his rebellious nature and his refusal to conform to the rigid expectations of the academic world. They found his unconventional approach to learning and his inability to comply with established norms difficult to tolerate. As a result, Einstein struggled to find any professional opportunities in the academic sphere, a setback that many would have found insurmountable. At this point in his life, it seemed as though the world was closing its doors on Albert Einstein. His intellectual brilliance was undeniable, but the established institutions couldn't see past his nonconformist attitude. Albert was left in a difficult position. He had a profound passion for science, yet no clear path forward to pursue it. Desperation and uncertainty loomed large in his life, but Albert was not one to give up easily. He had already faced adversity before, and he knew that perseverance was key. In the face of mounting rejection, Albert decided to take a job that would, in many ways, change the course of his life. He accepted a position as a technical assistant at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. To some, this might have seemed like a step backward, an unremarkable job far from the academic world that he had aspired to join. But Albert saw this job as an opportunity to keep his mind free and open. The work was often tedious and monotonous, but it gave him ample free time to continue his studies, to explore new ideas, and to develop his groundbreaking theories. It was during his time working at the patent office that Albert's mind began to flourish in ways he had never imagined. The routine of the job provided him with the space he needed to think deeply about the fundamental laws of the universe. Free from the constraints of academia, and with few distractions, Albert was able to focus on what truly mattered to him, understanding the nature of time, space, and the universe itself. In the quiet solitude of his office, Albert began to develop the theory of relativity, a revolutionary concept that would challenge the very fabric of science as it was known at the time. He realized that the laws of physics were not fixed, but relative to the observer's motion. His famous equation, E equals mc2, emerged from this insight, showing the relationship between energy and mass in a way that had never been understood before. It was a concept so profound, so simple, and yet so powerful that it would go on to reshape our understanding of the universe. As Albert's ideas took shape, he began to publish papers on his theories, some of which would later become iconic in the world of physics. His work gained attention, albeit slowly, and his reputation as a thinker and innovator began to grow. But despite his increasing recognition in academic circles, Albert did not receive the immediate accolades he so richly deserved. In fact, it would take more than a decade before he was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Physics, an honor that seemed almost unattainable given the years of obscurity he had spent in relative isolation. For Albert, the path to recognition was not linear, and the road to success was never smooth. He faced countless moments of doubt and frustration. He was often overlooked, even ridiculed, by the very same institutions that would later praise his work. His theories were met with skepticism, as many in the scientific community struggled to comprehend the depth of his insights. Yet, despite these challenges, Albert continued to push forward, driven by an insatiable curiosity and a deep belief that the pursuit of knowledge was worth any sacrifice. By the time Albert Einstein was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921, his life had already become a testament to the power of perseverance in the face of adversity. He had faced rejection, ridicule, and failure, but he had never allowed these setbacks to define him. Instead, he had used them as fuel to keep moving forward, to continue exploring the mysteries of the universe. His work had forever altered the course of science, and his ideas were now seen as the foundation for much of modern physics. However, despite the fame and recognition that followed his Nobel Prize, Albert never allowed his success to blind him to the larger purpose of his work. He remained deeply committed to the idea that science was not merely an academic pursuit, but a way to improve the world for everyone. His ideas were not just theories. They were tools for understanding the universe and for solving some of the most profound problems facing humanity. Throughout his life, Albert Einstein maintained a steadfast belief in the power of curiosity. He famously said, "I have no special talent. I am only passionately curious." This simple yet profound statement encapsulated the essence of his journey. It was not his extraordinary intellect that set him apart, but his unwavering dedication to understanding the world around him. Albert believed that curiosity was the key to discovery, that the willingness to ask questions and to explore new ideas was the foundation of all progress. But Albert's story is not just about intellectual triumph. It is a story of resilience, of overcoming obstacles and persevering through adversity. It is a reminder that success is not always immediate, that the road to greatness is often filled with setbacks, doubts, and moments of failure. Yet it is in those moments that the true strength of character is forged. Albert Einstein's life teaches us that it is not the setbacks that define us, but how we rise above them. In his later years, Albert Einstein became not just a physicist, but a philosopher, a humanitarian, and a global icon. His research had changed the world, but his ideas about the importance of curiosity, creativity, and compassion continue to inspire generations of people. His life serves as a reminder that success is not about avoiding failure, but about learning from it, growing through it, and never giving up on the pursuit of knowledge and truth. As we reflect on Albert Einstein's life and legacy, we are reminded that every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. The challenges we face, the moments of doubt and failure, are not signs of weakness, but stepping stones on the path to greatness. Just as Einstein did, we must learn to trust our curiosity, embrace our mistakes, and push forward with determination. We do not have to be the next Einstein, but we can strive to be the best version of ourselves, driven by passion, curiosity, and a commitment to making the world a better place. The legacy of a revolutionary mind. Albert Einstein's contributions to science and humanity have transcended the boundaries of time and space, making him one of the most enduring symbols of intellectual greatness in the modern world. Yet his journey did not end with the award of the Nobel Prize in Physics or his rise to global fame. His legacy is much more than just his theories about the nature of the universe. It is about the values he championed, the lessons he imparted, and the courage he exhibited throughout his life. By the time Albert had established himself as one of the greatest minds of his time, he was already grappling with deeper questions about life, society, and humanity. The same curiosity that led him to unravel the mysteries of time and space also inspired him to speak out about the pressing issues of his day. He believed that a true scientist did not isolate themselves from the world's struggles, but instead used their platform to advocate for progress, peace, and justice. During the early 20th century, the world was undergoing rapid and often turbulent changes. The aftermath of World War I and the rise of totalitarian regimes across Europe created a climate of fear and uncertainty. Einstein, who had seen firsthand the destructive potential of war, became an outspoken advocate for peace. His voice became a beacon for those who believed that science and reason should prevail over the politics of hatred and violence. Yet his stance was not always popular. He was met with criticism and hostility, particularly from those who saw his pacifism as naive in a world that seemed increasingly divided by nationalistic ideologies. Despite the resistance, Albert stood firm in his convictions. He understood that true progress required not only scientific advancements, but also social and political change. He spoke passionately about the need for international cooperation, the importance of education, and the role of science in improving human life. He argued that the pursuit of knowledge should never be solely for personal gain or military advantage, but should be used to uplift humanity as a whole. At the same time, Einstein's commitment to human rights was unwavering. He spoke out against the oppression of minorities, particularly the mistreatment of Jewish people during the rise of Nazi Germany. As a Jewish man himself, Albert was personally affected by the increasing tide of anti-Semitism sweeping across Europe. He knew that his own life was at risk, and in 1933, he made the difficult decision to leave Germany for good. He accepted a position at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey, where he would spend the remainder of his career. In the United States, Einstein continued to advocate for the rights of the oppressed, speaking out against segregation and racial injustice. He was a vocal supporter of the civil rights movement, and in his later years, he developed a close friendship with African-American civil rights leader Paul Robeson. Einstein believed that the fight for racial equality was one of the most critical struggles of his time, and he used his platform to encourage others to stand up for justice and equality. Yet, despite his deep commitment to social issues, Albert never lost sight of the wonder that science brought him. Throughout his life, he remained captivated by the mysteries of the universe. He never ceased to ask questions, to seek answers, and to challenge the status quo. His work in physics, particularly in his theory of relativity, changed the very way we understand space, time, and energy. His equation, E equals mc2, became one of the most recognized formulas in all of science, revealing the profound connection between mass and energy. But beyond the formulas, it was his ability to think differently, to challenge conventional wisdom, and to see the world through a lens of wonder and curiosity that set him apart. Albert Einstein's work in physics reshaped the foundation of modern science, but his influence stretched far beyond the world of academia. He became a symbol of intellectual freedom and creativity, showing the world that genius is not about adhering to established rules or following the expected path. It is about breaking free from the confines of tradition and daring to think in new ways. His ideas sparked a revolution in science, but they also inspired people from all walks of life to think more deeply, to ask more questions, and to pursue their own passions without fear of failure. But perhaps one of the most powerful aspects of Albert Einstein's legacy is the way in which he remained humble and grounded, even in the face of overwhelming success. He never saw himself as a hero or a genius. Instead, he saw himself as someone who was simply following his curiosity and doing his best to understand the world around him. He famously said, "The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing." To him, curiosity was the driving force behind all discovery, and it was the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe. Einstein's humility was evident not only in his personal life, but also in the way he interacted with others. He was deeply compassionate and cared deeply about the well-being of others. Despite his fame, he was never too busy to engage with his colleagues, his students, or the public. He was always willing to share his knowledge, to help others see the world through a new lens, and to encourage those around him to follow their own passions. As Einstein grew older, his focus shifted from scientific discovery to humanitarian efforts. He began to explore questions that transcended the boundaries of physics, contemplating the role of science in society and its potential to bring about positive change. He became a staunch advocate for disarmament, believing that the proliferation of nuclear weapons posed a grave threat to humanity. In his later years, he was involved in numerous political and social causes, from advocating for the rights of the poor to speaking out against injustice and inequality wherever he saw it. Even in his final years, Albert Einstein never stopped working, never stopped asking questions, and never stopped challenging the status quo. He continued to develop his theories, although some of his later work was less well known. But what truly defined his legacy was not just his scientific achievements, but his unwavering commitment to using his talents for the greater good. He was not just a scientist. He was a thinker, a philosopher, and a man who sought to make the world a better place through the power of knowledge, curiosity, and compassion. Albert Einstein passed away in 1955 at the age of 76, leaving behind a legacy that has inspired countless generations of scientists, thinkers, and everyday people alike. His ideas continue to shape the world of science, and his life serves as a testament to the power of perseverance, creativity, and curiosity. His story reminds us that greatness is not achieved by following the crowd or adhering to societal norms. It is achieved by daring to think differently, to ask difficult questions, and to push the boundaries of what is known. Einstein's journey proves that success is not determined by the absence of obstacles, but by the ability to rise above them, to learn from mistakes, and to keep moving forward with passion and determination. As we look back on the life of Albert Einstein, we are reminded that the road to greatness is never easy, but it is always worth the effort. His story encourages us to follow our curiosity, to remain open to new ideas, and to use our talents not just for personal success, but to make the world a better place. The world may have changed since Albert's time, but his legacy continues to inspire us all to strive for greatness, to question the world around us, and to never stop learning. The enduring power of curiosity. Albert Einstein's journey is far more than a series of academic achievements, breakthroughs, or even political stances. It is a vivid illustration of the profound impact of an insatiable curiosity and a fearless pursuit of knowledge. His life proves that intellectual greatness is not born from privilege or a predestined path, but from an enduring commitment to questioning the world, embracing challenges, and refusing to be confined by conventional boundaries. As we continue to reflect on the legacy of Albert Einstein, one key lesson stands out. Curiosity is the wellspring from which all innovation flows. While many people may possess intelligence or talent in various fields, it is the curious minds, those who are not content with easy answers or the status quo, that are the true catalysts for change. Albert's passion for understanding the unknown was not limited to his scientific work. It permeated every aspect of his life, shaping his worldview and his interactions with others. In many ways, his curiosity about the universe extended beyond physics, leading him to consider profound philosophical, ethical, and social questions that still resonate with us today. The story of Albert Einstein teaches us that no matter where we begin in life, no matter how difficult the circumstances, the key to success is maintaining a deep and unwavering curiosity about the world around us. From his early years of struggling to speak to his groundbreaking work in physics, Einstein's curiosity never wavered. It was this relentless desire to learn, to question, and to explore that allowed him to push beyond the limits of his time and transform the way we understand the universe. His work, particularly his theory of relativity and his famous equation, E=mc², forever altered the landscape of modern physics, but it was his ability to stay curious and ask bold questions that made those discoveries possible. It is important to note that Einstein's success was not achieved in isolation. He was surrounded by a network of people, his friends, colleagues, and even his students, who shared in his intellectual curiosity. Though Einstein is often depicted as the lone genius, his work was very much a collaborative effort, shaped by the ideas and contributions of others. His collaboration with mathematician Marcel Grossman, for instance, was essential in developing the mathematical framework for his theory of general relativity. His work with physicist Niels Bohr in exploring quantum mechanics pushed the boundaries of our understanding of the very nature of reality. Yet Einstein never allowed the limitations of his peers or society to stifle his curiosity. In fact, he often took great pleasure in questioning established ideas, even when it meant challenging the very foundation of scientific thought. His disagreements with some of the greatest minds of his time, such as his famed debates with Niels Bohr about the nature of quantum mechanics, reflect his unwillingness to accept anything as final truth unless it could be proven beyond doubt. He was never afraid to say, "I don't know," and this openness to uncertainty fueled his creative thinking and led him to groundbreaking discoveries. Even as he gained recognition and accolades, Einstein remained firmly rooted in his passion for understanding the world. He never saw himself as above anyone else, and his humility and self-awareness allowed him to continuously grow, both as a scientist and as a person. His humility was not a product of his fame, but rather a reflection of his deep sense of wonder. He viewed himself as just another person on a journey of discovery, constantly learning from the world around him. This humility was also evident in the way he interacted with his students and colleagues. He was known to encourage those around him to think freely, to explore their own ideas, and to never be afraid to challenge conventional wisdom. This deep respect for curiosity also extended to his view of the world. Einstein believed that the universe itself was full of wonder, and it was humanity's job to explore it with an open mind and an open heart. Whether he was exploring the mysteries of the cosmos or reflecting on the implications of his own discoveries, Einstein never lost sight of the awe that comes with understanding the natural world. His life, from beginning to end, was a testament to the transformative power of curiosity and the endless possibilities it opens up. However, the true beauty of Einstein's journey lies in the fact that his curiosity wasn't confined to the realm of science alone. His commitment to a better world extended to his deep concern for social justice, peace, and human rights. As he grew older, Einstein became a passionate advocate for human rights, equality, and democracy. He spoke out against the rise of totalitarian regimes, particularly Nazi Germany, and he was one of the first scientists to recognize the threat posed by nuclear weapons. His legacy as a pacifist and a human rights advocate remains as influential as his work in physics. In fact, Einstein's reflections on the role of science in society are some of the most thought-provoking aspects of his legacy. He believed that science should not be an isolated pursuit of knowledge, but rather a force for good in the world. He argued that the scientific community had a moral responsibility to use its discoveries for the betterment of humanity, rather than for destructive purposes. His outspoken opposition to the development and use of nuclear weapons is just one example of how his understanding of the power of science led him to take a moral stand. Einstein's commitment to peace was not just a theoretical ideal, but a cause he actively worked toward. He supported movements for disarmament, and he was an advocate for the peaceful resolution of conflicts. His influence extended beyond the world of science, as he was often called upon to offer his voice on matters of social and political significance. Despite facing criticism and hostility for his stance on various issues, Einstein never backed down from advocating for what he believed was right. At the heart of Einstein's message was a profound belief in the importance of education. He understood that knowledge was not just a tool for personal achievement, but a way to empower individuals and communities to improve the world. Throughout his life, Einstein encouraged young people to pursue their passions, to question everything, and to never stop learning. His quote, "Education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school," reflects his understanding that true education goes beyond the confines of the classroom. It is about developing the curiosity, creativity, and critical thinking skills that allow individuals to navigate the complexities of life and contribute meaningfully to society. Einstein's legacy is a powerful reminder of the importance of curiosity, persistence, and the courage to question the world around us. His life shows us that there are no limits to what we can achieve if we remain dedicated to our intellectual passions, no matter how difficult the journey may seem. Through his struggles, his successes, and his unwavering commitment to learning, Albert Einstein demonstrated that the pursuit of knowledge is not just a personal endeavor, but a force that has the potential to change the world. As we continue to face new challenges in our own time, Einstein's story serves as both an inspiration and a call to action. The world is full of problems that demand innovative solutions, and the key to solving them lies in our ability to ask questions, to think differently, and to stay curious. Albert Einstein's life shows us that we all have the capacity to make a lasting impact on the world, not through fame or accolades, but through a relentless pursuit of understanding and a desire to create positive change. So, as we move forward, let us carry with us the lessons of Albert Einstein: to remain curious, to never stop learning, and to always seek to make the world a better place through the power of knowledge and the courage to act. The path to greatness may not be easy, but like Einstein, we too can leave behind a legacy that transcends time and space, one that continues to inspire generations to come. The eternal flame of curiosity. As we look back on the life of Albert Einstein, we realize that his story is not just a tale of intellectual triumph, but a profound lesson in perseverance, humility, and the relentless pursuit of truth. Einstein's journey shows us that the road to greatness is often paved with struggle, rejection, and failure. It is not through avoiding mistakes or setbacks that we grow, but through embracing them, learning from them, and continuing to push forward. Einstein's life teaches us that success is not defined by accolades or external recognition, but by the depth of our curiosity and the courage to follow our passions. He never set out to be a famous scientist. He simply followed the questions that burned within him, never content with easy answers or the conventional paths others took. His curiosity was his greatest gift, and it was this gift that led him to unlock some of the deepest secrets of the universe. But his story is more than just about scientific discovery. It is a story of using one's talents for the greater good. Einstein understood that with knowledge comes responsibility. His work, whether in physics or in his advocacy for peace and human rights, was always driven by a desire to make the world a better place. He believed that we all have the power to shape the future, not just through our individual success, but by contributing to the collective well-being of humanity. As we navigate our own lives, we can take inspiration from Einstein's unwavering commitment to learning and to thinking differently. We may not all revolutionize the world of physics, but each of us has the potential to make an impact in our own way, whether through our work, our relationships, or our contributions to society. The key is to never stop asking questions, to stay curious, and to use our gifts to serve others. Einstein once said, "The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing." These words encapsulate the essence of his life, a life that was fueled by a passion to understand, a refusal to accept limitations, and a deep belief that there is always more to learn. His legacy reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge is not just an intellectual endeavor, but a lifelong journey of growth, discovery, and transformation. So, as we close the story of Albert Einstein, let us remember that his greatest gift was not the theories he developed or the accolades he received, but the example he set. He showed us that success comes not from following a prescribed path, but from following our curiosity wherever it leads. He showed us that the most important thing we can do is to keep asking questions, to remain humble in the face of our achievements, and to use our knowledge and talents to make the world a better place. The world is full of challenges, and it will continue to change in ways we cannot predict. But as long as we stay curious, as long as we continue to question and to seek answers, we will never stop growing, never stop evolving, and never stop making a difference. Just like Albert Einstein, we all have the power to leave behind a legacy that will inspire others to dream, to think, and to act. The journey may be long and difficult, But if we embrace the lessons he taught us, we too can change the world. This concludes the story. Thank you for watching until the end. I hope you found it enjoyable. If you did, please consider liking the video and sharing it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell for more captivating stories. Have a great day.